Hello and welcome to another episode of Spark Up, the podcast by the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Bennett University. Welcome to today's episode where we dive into the dynamic world of services-led entrepreneurship, a space where India is not just participating but leading on the global stage. From health tech to ed tech, tourism to consulting, Indian ventures are redefining what it means to serve local and scale global. Joining us today is someone who's been at the heart of this transformation. Dr. Abhay Sinha, Director General of the Services Export Promotion Council and a true champion of the India Serves vision. With over 25 years in international trade, strategy and brand building, Dr. Sinha has helped position India as a powerhouse in service innovation. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply curious about how India is exporting ideas, talent and innovation across borders, this conversation is for you. Hello and welcome, sir.
Thank you.
You've championed India Serves as a global brand. What do you believe makes Indian service entrepreneurs uniquely positioned to lead the world stage?
You see, India Serves, we are promoting India offerings and services under one umbrella called India Serves, and for that we have taken certain initiatives. But over the years, India has developed its services skill. It all started with IT.
Right.
But then we have tourism industry also, Incredible India, for example, and a lot many other areas emerged along with it. So India needed a body like us to promote services, and we also see that globally the demand for services has increased.
Risen, yes.
As you can see in case of US, for example, now they are going back to have a manufacturing again, they're rewinding and to become manufacturing hub again. But as country develops, that's the traditional principle of economics,
right,
that as country develops, they tend to move more towards services.
Services, yes.
Whether it is service-led economy, I think somewhere like in 90s or wherever, we missed out the bus of manufacturing,
right,
and India's services sector evolved.
Right, so it was a trajectory that we took from agriculture to services, and we've been doing
exactly. Manufacturing missed out somewhere.
Yes.
And
okay. I want to understand what are the biggest innovation gaps you see in India's service sector since you've been associated with it for so long, and how can startups turn these gaps into opportunities?
You see, in case of services, it's all about creating a favorable perception.
Right.
It's intangible, and there has to be, a lot of credibility, trust needs to build. It's not like any product exported. So the entire way, how we look at export changes, and then competence development.
Right.
The value chain development. So very integrated, but it's still, there are so many overlaps. So we need to take care of each one of them. So that's the major challenge in services, and the idea is to provide them favorable policies and build a kind of conducive atmosphere. For example, I'll just take one example. In gaming, for example,
right,
a lot of opportunities are emerging, but the sector is struggling with taxation issue. The sector is struggling with the need for support in terms of supporting the need for software, high-end software.
Also,
they're
to some extent, policy initiatives?
That's all part of the policy.
Right.
And, hardware, for example.
Right.
Any developer would require a very high-end computer. They would require a very high-end software. So licensing fee, if government can incentivize that. They are getting incentives, but I think those are the challenges there.
That is a place where it can be a bit more scalable.
And more than that, and one more point, India having huge population, young population, I think in services, if proper skilling and training is taken care, they can.
There's a huge potential.
In case of a startup also, not exactly aware of the data right now, but most of them, almost 80% of them are from the services sector.
Right.
So we need to take care of that because a lot of the startups are failing. So what could be the reason of failure? The failure rate. We need to identify that and take care of that. Tourism, for example, a huge potential, but we are not able to promote itself globally. Right. Small countries like Guatemala, for example, we're a small country somewhere in Central America. they are becoming country of honor in various trade events globally. We are not able to even showcase like them.
Right.
So, and tourism is all about how you create perception on safety, not only about exotic locations, but safety, and which has been a major concern.
Absolutely.
A lot of incidents in the past has happened which dented that image. So that's a major challenge where we all need to play a very important role. One area like relating to tourism, for example, it's not only about visiting a location, it's about the experiential tourism right now.
Right.
So adventure tourism, for example, cruise, for example, how we are developing those subsectors. So those are the
So we've come a long way from just health and
health is just a very small part.
Right.
We need to look at the entire spectrum in a very, very specific, customized way.
And our listeners, I'm sure you understand all the gaps that Sir mentioned are possibilities and opportunities that you can actually work on. All right, coming to my next question, Sir. From your experience with SEPC and Pharmexcel, what's one export strategy that service-based startups often overlook?
I think the idea needs to be tested more for commercialization point of view, and more understanding on the overseas market, because when we talk about exports by a startup, it should be driven by the need in foreign countries.
Right. Because we are at a global playing stage. Right.
So that needs to be. So I think somewhere there is a miss.
Okay. How can Indian entrepreneurs build globally competitive service ventures while staying rooted in local relevance? Like, I understand when we talk about understanding competition globally and doing a thorough research or market analysis when you're going to promote your services abroad, but there has to be a certain anchoring in your local practices.
Very good example can be healthcare and tourism.
Right.
In case of healthcare, India is having a large population to be provided healthcare services. So you have homegrown demand itself to build the capacity, and we need to raise our standards in domestic delivery of the services in healthcare, and that will enhance the credibility for the global market.
Right.
So that will play a very crucial role. It cannot be two different sets of services. A patient coming from any part of the world is going to be there on the same bed where you're treating your domestic patient. So same equipment, same testing labs, same expertise of doctor. So that can be, that's where I feel like
so standardization again can be a form of credibility.
In services, unfortunately, it has been ignored.
Yes.
So in every aspect of services, we need to come up with standards where they are not there. We need to adopt and adapt to the standards set by our developing countries, if it is uniformly accepted or globally accepted. So we need to align our standards. So a lot of work on standards are also being undertaken by us, and skilling and training. But tourism, for example, like we have a lot of potential to develop domestic tourism, and that can also provide an opportunity for the tourists from outside to come.
Right.
How you spread the information about. So information is also will be information dissemination to the global audience. Your target.
That's again an opportunity in itself.
Yeah. Again,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. That brings me to my last question. You've been associated with SEPC, and we see a lot of women and marginalized communities too getting involved with services and trying to sell them in India and abroad. So my question is, what role do platforms like SEPC play in shaping the journey of a first generation service entrepreneur? Whoever they're trying to break into the international market?
Unlike manufacturing, I think in case of services, it's a low cost investment.
Exactly.
You don't require huge capital investment
or a factory or
you don't
like
require any idea you can work on, and you just need to align yourself with various facilitators, like how one can raise the funding, how you can network with the international organizations to have an opportunity to market the product globally. So embassies can play a very important role. Bodies like us can play a very important role. Skilling, for example, can be through Services Export Promotion Council.
Right.
And we are also having a lot of focus, as you mentioned, about the unprivileged section
or
of the society.
marginalized sections of society.
In case of women, Like we are actually trying to bring them on board as well.
Right.
And you would be glad to know that our vice chairman right now is Upasana Arora from Yashoda Hospital.
Okay.
So so that way we are.
That's
and we
actually,
are
I think, very
integrating a lot of
inspiring
women.
for my
Yeah.
listeners as
Yeah.
well. Very nice. Okay. So, thank you so much, sir.
Thank
These were the set of questions that I had, and we will surely connect with you with whatever questions my listeners have. And thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Thanks
joining
for this
us today.
opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity.